Hey guys, it's Matt here, and today I'm bringing you another episode of Matt Rants. So, this Matt Rants is going to be very fast-paced, high tension, fast action, because there's a lot to unpack here, and I don't want to go for an hour. It's 38 minutes. Is what this direct was. Not how long I can't predict how long this is going to be. But it was 38 minutes of an entire, this was a very jam-packed direct. I thought we were going to get more Smash stuff in it. I'm happy we didn't. I'm happy we focused on other things. And even though some other things that were talked about, albeit, very briefly, at the same time, they did they're just trying to bring awareness. Like, hey, by the way, it's coming out even sooner than you thought. Last time we also mentioned this, but it was obviously 2 months later or so. So I understand why they're, talking about some things a bit more, even though, again, we've seen them over and over and over. Still, you gotta remind people to pre-order or to buy if they haven't yet. I mean, I don't even have a Switch right now, and I want to get a Switch just for some of these games. And speaking of one of those games, we're going to start off talking about Luigi's Mansion 3, which is a working title. Confusingly, I guess it might be a working title because Dark Moon wasn't listed as Luigi's Mansion 2, so maybe they, I don't know, maybe they just don't want to date the series by giving it 2, 3, 4, 5, stuff like that. And I totally get it. There's still, even to this day, there's still a mentality that sequels aren't as good as the original, not just in games, but also in movies as well. And sometimes that's also quite true, though. So it's not as if that trope isn't, doesn't have any merit. Either way, Luigi's Mansion 3, coming out in 2019. Now, we don't know much about this game, but we can tell from looking at it that Luigi's going to be in a hotel this time. And like I said earlier, the title is a working title. So that's all we know thus far. But it shows that there might be other things in the pipeline. Also, another thing as well is a lot of people were talking about announcing, oh, you should have announced this sooner, etc., etc. Well, we don't know when this is going to be released in 2019. It might actually be released a year from now, around October. So I would rather have them wait until now and then have it come out a year from now, rather than mention it, God, what direct were people talking about? Let's say it was a direct from a year ago. Let's just pretend. Let's say they announced it alongside Mario Odyssey, right? Like, oh, Mario Odyssey coming out, and also about 2 years from now will be Luigi's Mansion. It's like, yeah, but then you have to wait 2 years and stuff like that. So, like, I'd rather them, and them in this case being Nintendo, not announce something until it's ready, rather than announcing something, saying, and not necessarily having it be delayed necessarily, but announcing something and really it being more of a twinkle in someone's eye versus an actual fully made game. So that's all we know about Luigi's Mansion 3. Jump in, though, to 3DS games just for a second, because we only have a few to bang out. There's Kirby Extra Epic Yarn, which is a Wii port. I'll say that the game looks cute, but if the price of the game on the Wii is still relatively cheap and ends up being cheaper than this version of the game, I'd rather go for that version. Nothing wrong with this version. It's also, by the way, coming out in 2019. There's no exact date as of yet. There are some new features, minigames, and modes. It does seem nice if the Wii version has somehow gone up in price, because that sometimes does happen. I hope it doesn't, and I hope me mentioning it doesn't, but still, that does happen from time to time. So for certain games, especially some games I'm going to mention later, that most likely their original versions would be more expensive than a re-release. So in that case, it's like, why don't you buy the re-release? So let's move on to Mario plus Luigi Bowser's Inside Story. This was a good one to bring up again because it's coming out January 11th, 2019. I know they're going to have to bring it up again, with how many other directs they're going to do before January 11th, but the reason why I'm happy they brought this up is because they're talking about new Bowser Jr.'s Journey. Jeez, that's so hard to say out loud. Bowser's Jr.'s Journey. So Bowser Jr. is going to have his own quest, his own journey, his own story in the game. Definitely is a great way to make you want to buy it again. I don't have the original, so this might be my preferred version. If they, don't really seem to be changing too much. It don't seem to be, because this was a DS game, and, it's DS, 3DS, a little bit of graphical improvement, but not that much. They're not going to change the mechanics or anything like that, and including a Bowser Jr. story. Again, if you wanted to buy the game and you were like, well, it doesn't seem like there's enough new content in this game, I would argue that's enough new content to warrant the game being bought again. And also, like I just mentioned with Extra Epic Yarn, the game might be more expensive on the DS, funnily enough. It does happen. So let's see here. Luigi's Mansion. So we're talking about 3DS version of Luigi's Mansion, the original that's getting the re-release. Apparently they have two-player co-op now, and also should mention that it's coming out October 12th. I am extremely excited. I do have a 3DS. I don't have a Switch, but I have a 3DS. I want to get this game so badly. My copy of Luigi's Mansion on my GameCube doesn't work anymore, and I don't want to buy a new one because of dem prices. You know what's so funny? This is another example. It's so weird that we have three in a row of a game that, looking at the Amazon version, it's $40. I'm not saying that I'm not going to say definitely because I haven't checked the prices in a while that Luigi's Mansion is more than $40 right now, but there's a chance it might be. So at the same time, it's kind of like, you know what? This is a remake that I understand. Now, again, if my version on the GameCube worked and, I didn't do this for YouTube to show you guys really cool games and, stuff like that, maybe, and it was a home console release, so like for the Wii or the Wii U, then yeah, maybe I'd, kind of scoff at it or kind of, push it aside. I mean, not scoff, but push it aside at the very least. But this version, it's going to be handheld. That's the thing. It's going to be handheld. I can take it on the go. Why not get this for the 3DS? Also, like I mentioned, co-op earlier, which if you don't know, yes, there is co-op. I don't like the way the model looks for Ghost Luigi, but the idea is still cool. Like, I really do like the concept that you can actually do multiplayer co-op for this because, I look at some of my friends, I look at someone like Tristan Walter, who we played Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube on this channel, and I really enjoyed playing it, really enjoyed remembering playing it as a kid. One of those games that I didn't have to play on like Matt Beats games from his childhood where it's like, I've never beaten this game before. It's like, no, I beat that game. Such a good game. So to be able to play that with him on the 3DS would be hilarious. So that's something that I enjoy. And also, I believe it was, I don't remember her last name. Her first name's Alana. She's a YouTuber. I'll post her channel in the description box down below. But she made a joke on Twitter where she said the only reason why there's a Ghost co-op is because you killed him, Nintendo. And I found that hilarious. So I wanted to give that shout out because it was just such a funny joke. I was like, that right there is beautiful. And also, let's see here. Amiibo connectivity is very interesting. I might do a Matt Rants about Amiibo connectivity and somewhat comparing it to like loot boxes. I was gonna say loot crates. Every time I want to say loot crates to loot boxes. And if you guys want to hear that, maybe, tell me about it in the comment section down below. Might do that in the future. Put that on the docket. But yeah, there's Amiibo connectivity and it's very interesting because you can put different Amiibos on the, on your 3DS and it will be able to read, whoever it is you put on. Not every amiibo is obviously going to be compatible. I don't think you can put Cloud on there. That'd be really great. Just your second player is now Cloud. That would be amazing. I would be very happy with going into a haunted mansion with Cloud. Like, I feel like he would be able to help me out. But anyway, so that wasn't even a joke. That was just if some of you guys are like, was that actually a joke? No, there was no punchline. I just trust in Cloud. But anyway, so yeah, you can get like different power-ups and health and things like that. Interesting stuff. But moving forward, for the last one on 3DS, we have Yokai Watch Blasters, specifically the Rabbids version. It's coming out September 27th, and you're wondering why Rabbids is in there. There's also a dogs and cats version. Now, I know some people don't like a comparison when comparing it to like Pokemon or something like that, but I'm going to do that for a second. Even though I have played the original game, sort of. I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so the dogs and cats version, the Rabbids version, if you want to compare it to Pokemon, it's like saying there's a gold, a silver, and a crystal, right? And Rabbids is the crystal version. Because they basically, if you don't know about Yokai Watch, it's an anime/video game series in Japan. I don't know if Level 5, I think Level 5 just brought it over with Nintendo because they thought it was a big money franchise, because it is in Japan, a big money franchise for the US. I think the games I would argue, I think they've done well, but not as well as they would have liked. And Disney XD actually has the anime on their channel, which is nice, but it is an anime that, even though it is for children in Japan, there's still a few little things here and there that the US does censor. And also, of course, they localize the names and change them to US names and things like that. So even though I've heard great things about the dub, I haven't hated the dub from what I've seen. It's on Disney XD. I think a lot of anime fans aren't really going to attach, themselves to it. And also when it comes to kids, I feel like kids are more online now, like watching stuff on YouTube, Netflix, whatever. So unless unless Yokai Watch ends up going on like Disney streaming service and then kids can watch it that way, I don't know if there are as many kids watching that as Disney would like. Either way, though, talking about Yokai Watch Blasters, I do think that people have been sleeping on this series. And I played, like I mentioned earlier, I was going to get back to it. I played a not-for-resale version of the first game on this channel for our series called, aptly, Not For Resale. So, it was a lot of fun. I really do want to get the game. So I'm going to stealth. I'm just going to jump in, try to get some eBay bids because I don't want to pay full price for the game. Because I'm pretty sure if they both, like, there's a few different games. I think like 2 or 3 thus far. I believe Yokai Watch Blasters is either the 3rd or the 4th game in the series thus far. The issue that I have is that looking at Yokai Watch digitally, like if I wanted to get it off the eShop, I'm pretty sure it's around $40 still, or 30, and I'm like, no bueno, no. But either way, it does seem like a really fun game, fun franchise. I love the Ghostbusters references, and it's coming out September 27th, like I mentioned earlier. You guys should totally get it. They said it was a great way to jump into the franchise. I'm not sure about that. I feel like they might be knee-deep in story, but still, it seems like a fun game regardless. So, let's jump over back to the Switch side of things. Splatoon 2 is getting a version 4 update, which is like, okay. There was an anime opening that I loved to death, and apparently there's Turf War, which is a times 100 battle. So Nintendo looked at Fortnite and was just like, hold my inkling. And they basically, it was one of those things where it's like, it's not as if, Splatoon hasn't been also doing stuff like Fortnite, just not to that scale. And Fortnite is also available on the Switch as well, so it's no harm, no foul, in my opinion. And that was, half of a joke and half not. So I think that it's going to do very well. I think, the youths might like it. The younglings might enjoy it. Again, I don't have a Switch, so I'm not playing Splatoon 2. But a friend of mine, or rather someone that I had met during when I filmed at the last Nintendo Direct, the one for E3. I was in Nintendo World and I filmed for that. Like I was there. It's on this channel, a compilation of stuff. Also with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate footage is also on the channel as well in that video towards the end. And one of the guys that I met there let me, use the Switch. It was like, hey, you can play around if you want. Just don't have me lose. Haha, my record's great. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to mess up your record completely. Your record's screwed. And it was. I lost like 3 times in a row. I was getting better at it, but I lost a lot. Anyway, Mega Man 11. Mega Man 11 has a double gear system, which is like cool. You can move so fast that time stops. Kabuto has a problem with that. Kamen Rider Kabuto is like, hey man, what are you doing? Also, just like the Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, supports Amiibo to receive new items and other kinds of cool gifts and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. But other than that, it didn't seem like there was much more thrown at this trailer. And moving on to Mario Tennis Aces version 2 update, which is coming out September 19th. Apparently we're getting Birdo, Shy Guy, Koopa Paratroopa, PD Piranha, and also a co-op challenge. So that's actually pretty cool. That's coming out, I just mentioned September 19th. And nothing else to really report there. Really happy that Birdo's, coming back into the fray. And I think I really liked actually playing as Birdo in the original. I'm talking about like N64, because I rented that one from Blockbuster as a kid. I think I liked playing as Birdo. I don't remember, but I think I did. Either way, though, or at the very least, I was like, Birdo really intrigued me, because I was like, who is Birdo? Because at that point, I've only seen, like Super Mario World or Super Mario World 2, so it was like, who? And also Super Mario 64, so I was like, who are you? Anyway, Capcom Beat 'em Up Bundle. This excites me. September 18th is when it's coming out. It's going to have a bunch of different games like Final Fight, The King of Dragons, Captain Commando, Knights of the Round, Warriors of Fate, and 2 games that have never been released on a console before, and that must mean even digitally. Armored Warriors and Battle Circuit. Also, you can do 4-player co-op if there are Joy-Cons. If you guys have like 4 Joy-Cons, you can do 4-player co-op. So that's actually really has me hyped. So beat 'em ups for me is one of those things where like I don't actively go out to search beat 'em ups. unless it's the YouTube channel. I don't go out to search beat 'em ups, but what ends up happening is you put a beat 'em up in front of me, and then I'm just beating people up in the game, of course. But I'm beating people up. So a lot of stuff like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one or the Simpsons one that I played in a bunch of different arcades back in the day. Also putting the Batman Returns game. What else? There's some other ones as well that I really enjoy. Kamen Rider for the Super Famicom. That's also a good one, the original game. Because I'm sure there's some other Kamen Rider games for the Super Famicom as well. You find me a beat 'em up, I'll probably enjoy it. Anyway, moving on to New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe plus New Super Luigi U. So this one is very intriguing to me. It's coming out January 11th, 2019. Now, this is one where I totally understand where people's ire is coming from. People are like, guys, this was already put out on the Wii U. What are you doing? The Nintendo Switch is a port station. That's all it is. It's a port console. And I'll get into why. It's funny. I have another Matt Rants planned. It's coming out in a few days. I'm going to be trying to dispel that, but I do still have to do some research. So maybe I'm wrong. Or not necessarily dispel that, but it's a whole other thing. It'll matter in a few days from now. But what matters right now is the fact that this looks really cool, because of the fact that I do think that there are a lot of people out there. I mean, the numbers literally show there are a lot of people out there who did not have a Wii U. I am in those numbers. Tristan Walter is in those numbers. I feel sorry for Anthony Toto because he does have a Wii U, and he doesn't want to sell it to try to get a Switch, because I actually talked to him about that, and he was like, I don't know, because he obviously has all of his games on there, because digital games are on there as well. So it's very hard to kind of part with that, and I don't begrudge him for it. I'm just like, yeah, dude, I get you. Like, would I want to sell my PS4? No, there's a bunch of indie games on there. Why would I want to sell my PS4 and have to buy those again? I mean, heck, there's even a bunch of PS1 games on my PS3. That's why I still have my PS3. That's one of the reasons, anyway. But anyway, so talking about New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. And by the way, plus New Super Luigi U, if you don't know, they're both the same game. Not really. Obviously, they were released separately. They're two different games. When I say they're both the same game, I mean they're both being released technically as a bundle. So you can get them both in the same, in the same purchase. So you're not buying them separately. They are combined. You're gonna have a bunch of different courses, a bunch of different mini games, also some new characters as well, and some of the same old. So you have Mario, Luigi, and Toad, but also you have Nabbit and Toadette. And apparently, Toadette can transform into Peachette with a crown. No idea who Nabbit and Toadette are, so you can't see me if you're listening to this, but I'm nodding. I'm like, yeah, of course. Toadette can totally do that, right? Because sure. Either way, you can also play this game 4-player. I really do enjoy all of these games really trying to, I mean, obviously, gaming today is co-op, no duh, so I'm not trying to act like, there's no games that do co-op, but I think, it's just one of those things where my brain is always stuck in the past with retro games, stuff like that. So I look at, look at Super Nintendo, and I'm like, unless it's a multi-tap, only 2. And even with a multi-tap, 2 players. Even with a multi-tap, only 3. And stuff like that. So I know PS1 can go 8-player, but still, not many games supported 8-player. But here it's nice that it seems like almost every single game in this Direct is like, yeah, no, fun for the whole family, fun for all your friends. Come on over with your Switches. And they're really cultivating that environment that we all, including myself, laughed at when we saw people on rooftops bringing Switches around. It was like, y'all are silly. And now it's like, oh no, it's real. It's real, and I was wrong. And I think, a fair amount of us were wrong, at least in that regard. Anyway, so the next game, this one is one that I've maybe played once in my life, but somehow I'm still relatively hyped. Katamari Damacy Reroll, which is an HD re-release, but it seems like it's every single Katamari game coming out winter 2018, so that's only a few months from now. And the reason why that excites me so much is because of the fact that, there's certain games like that, this franchise, even though I've never played it, or like I say I never played it because I must have played it once, but never again. There's nothing against it. It's just there's a lot of games out there. But when it comes to this franchise, this is a franchise that I know was released, if I remember correctly, either and don't quote me on this first one, either in limited numbers or throughout the years it's become so popular and a lot of people have enjoyed it that it has gone up in price. I don't know what the exact price is right now. I'm not saying that it should be high in price. I'm not saying to raise your prices. Do research if you're trying to sell your older copies of these games online. I'm not telling you that it should be expensive. I'm just saying that I remember last time I heard some YouTubers talking about it and I looked up myself, it was expensive. And even if one of the games in the franchise isn't expensive, there's other ones that might be expensive, or at least might counteract that. So when you look at a game like this, that most likely will be, even if this game is $60, because it's a bunch of games combined, it's not just one Katamari game, that means that you can get all these games on your Switch rather than trying to hunt them down on different consoles, because I'm pretty sure not all of them were for the 360. PS2? That's another thing as well. I believe that one game was for the PSP potentially, or there was a Katamari collection for the PSP. Either way, some of these have been released before. Don't get me wrong. It's just that it's been so many years, even since their re-release, that it's just like, yeah, putting them out on HD on the Switch, pretty damn cool, in my opinion. Maybe disagree, it's okay. Either way, moving on to Nintendo Switch Online, most of this stuff we already knew, but I think we knew it via leak, so maybe I might be confused there, and this is actually a great confirmation of some stuff that we saw in a leak. So the Nintendo Switch Online service begins on September 18th. You can get online play, NES games with either local co-op or online. Also, cloud saves, smartphone app to talk online. Members receive special offers that weren't really discussed. And the price tiers were 4 a month, 8 for 3 months, and 20 a year. And you can get 2 people on the same service. So if you know that you and a friend or you and a family member both have Switches, instead of it being 20 and 20, just save $5 to get 2 different. And it's 2 different accounts, so it's not like, I don't think one is the master account, like one is like mom or dad, and the other one is like child. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be level playing field. It's an evil playing field, a level playing field. But speaking on this though, briefly, the whole Switch Online, just breaking some stuff down one by one. Online play, hoping that because money is being put into it, it's going to be better and it's not going to lag. Fingers crossed there. NES games in general, I hope they start adding more and more games. I hope they do something where just like anime streaming services. Got it. Anime streaming services. I can just shorten it and call it ASS. Just like ASS. No, just like anime streaming services, you can get one, you get one new episode of a show a week. You can get, or sometimes 2 if the, series is rather old. So when it comes to these games, you can get one new NES game a week maybe added for free on the service. They never take the NES games down, unlike other streaming services like Netflix, because these are, straight up Nintendo games. So they throw a game on the service and you can play, a new game every week, 2 new games every week, something like that. And now talking about co-op, local co-op is nice. I'm still happy. I'm happy that companies are still supporting that. That's the one thing I'll say. Obviously, online multiplayer, that's been around for a while now, and companies are shifting more towards that. But I really do like local co-op, and I'm happy that Nintendo is firmly planting their feet in that still, and also playing NES games online. Co-op, it's really great to see that officially, and I know people are going to say we've been able to do that for years, and I totally get you, but it's just nice to see it happen officially. And because same thing with like save states too, like you had that stuff on the NES and SNES Classic Edition, and it has happened before, of course, but it's still nice to see that in an official Nintendo product. When it comes to cloud saves, there's been some controversy, so I really think Nintendo, in another direct, or at least in some kind of press release, should go a bit more in-depth on cloud saves. I'm a little bit worried that they're not doing that because they want people to subscribe. Then once they do, they kind of see the issues with cloud saves, and they already paid a month, 3 months, or a year. I'm a little bit worried about that. But we'll see what happens with cloud saves in the future. It's not that I'm saying Nintendo is lying necessarily. I just think that it's something that really does matter that I think they haven't addressed as well as they could have. But one thing this next thing I think people are just shitting on, not for no reason, but hear me out. Smartphone app to talk online. Here's why I think people are going a little bit too hard on this. There are people out there that are like, I really hate talking to people online. I wish I could just turn it off. And it's like, then don't get the app. Like, this is for people who have microphones, stuff like that. They're like, oh, I wish I could just turn all this off, but some games they don't allow me to turn it off, or if they do, it's frustrating. It's a whole thing. It's like, in this case, you really don't even need to have a microphone headset or anything like that. Just just put in headphones and don't get the app. So I think it's better to have it detached. Also, I think it's one of those things where it's just not for us. I'm in my 20s. My phone is I think it's just for the youths, the younglings, the kiddos who live off their phone and who look at the Switch as a bigger phone. So I think it's just for them. I know, I understand that. I'm not saying that I like it, right? I'm not saying that I like this as a smartphone app. I'm just saying that maybe it's because I don't like talking online. Some of you that do like it and are upset, I totally get where you're coming from. But there are a bunch of people that in my opinion, are like, man, I hate talking online. And then this happens and they're like, what? How? Why? But why can't if I wanted to, it's like, wait, hold on. Do you want to or do you not want to? Which what is it? For those of you that do want to, I understand it can suck. I totally get where you're coming from. But either way, though, the thing that I think is the most vague and interesting is the special offers thing. Is it physical or is it digital? Is it digital games like PSN or is it some cool little goodies like some plushies? Because I am curious about that and I do want to see where that goes in the near future. To be fair, like, yes, I care about them talking about cloud saves, but this whole special offers thing and the mystery Mario question box, I'm like, no. Give me more on that. I would like some more on that in the near future. And also, speaking of NES games, that's not a transition. You weren't just talking about NES games, Matt. Technically, I was, I guess, with the Mario question mark. Speaking of NES games, they are going to be releasing an official wireless NES Switch controller, which I'm gonna, I crunched some numbers here. I did some math, and looking at this, and I got a machine to just print it out, and it actually printed out the word, and this is mathematical speak here, dope. It's dope. So I'm actually really hyped about that. It's like, I know, Matt, you don't have a Switch. What are you talking about? I know I don't have one, but it's still nice to be able to see mimicking original hardware from the original company. And third party's cool, but mimicking from the original company, putting it out for, whatever new console it is, for the Switch or whatever it is. So I think that's cool. Now all we need is a company to come out and allow you to wirelessly, which I'm sure it's already been done, and some of you guys will probably be like, no, man, it's already been done, play your original controllers on a Nintendo Switch somehow. I don't know how it would happen, maybe like through a wireless dongle or something. Plug this into this cord and then it becomes Bluetooth or something like that. But still, that would be very interesting for the Switch. But still, if you want to, buy it from Nintendo and have an official one, I think it'll work out well. Yes, of course, there's some worry of lag potentially, because not only a lag potentially from Nintendo's servers online, which I don't think would be a problem, only due to the fact that how small these games are. Once we start getting to GameCube, then I'd be nervous. But staying, with how small NES games are, I don't think there'd be a problem with lag. But let's say there is, and then there's a problem with potential lag from Bluetooth. That would be extremely frustrating to try to play a game like Mega Man on that. Anyway, also another thing I would like to mention as well, side note, it would be interesting if other companies also jump on this as well when it comes to the NES games, so we could potentially be getting Capcom in on this in some way or another and having Mega Man games. That would be interesting. Moving on to Pokemon Let's Go, which, as you all know, coming out November 16th, but they talked about secret techniques, and I laughed a lot, only because I think up until this point I understood if someone said, oh, it feels like it's a dumbed down version of Pokemon, but I was like, hey man, we're just trying to have a good time. But replacing HMs by calling them secret techniques, I'm just like, we are coddling the youths too much. We must refer to them the way the ancient ancestors 20 years ago had referred to them as hidden machines. Which is funny now that you say it out loud, Matt. But still, they are hidden machines. They are not secret techniques. Also, my Pikachu cannot smash rocks. He just can't. He's too freaking adorable. Either way, speaking of Pikachu being adorable, it's not like Eevee isn't adorable too. There's a bunch of Eevee fans right now that are like, excuse me, how dare you? You can pet your partner, and apparently you can give them bedhead if you do. You can just change up their hairstyle by petting them with the Switch in handheld mode. So that's adorable. Also, there's going to be a Switch bundle coming out. Don't know exactly when, but they're talking about pre-orders for... Actually, they might have talked about when it is coming out, rather. But they didn't mention when the pre-orders are up, because I checked, and I'm pretty sure I Googled it, and there were no pre-orders showing up. Either way, it's going to the games are going to be included probably digitally, which is kind of sad because I do like physical versions of these games, but also looking at the Switch, I do know that, even though I don't have one, I know that a lot of the files for the games are actually downloaded online in a patchy kind of way versus actually having them all on the cartridges, which is great. That's going to definitely make me want to play a Switch 10 to 15 to 20 years from now. And that's not even shitting on Nintendo, by the way, because day one patches is something that has been a part of Sony and Xbox library for years now. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, damn it. You might be like, wasn't that like 5? I call it damn it. That's the version that that's what I give it a little nickname. If I'm feeling spicy, I'll go for God damn it. Anyway, so the point is that for the Switch bundle, for the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee Nintendo Switch bundle, the games will be included depending on which one you get, and the Joy-Cons will either be yellow like Pikachu or brownish for Eevee, and the dock looks freaking adorable. Also, they will come with the Pokeball Plus, so that's cool too. And I haven't seen I've heard that the price might be $400, which is like I know it's a bundle, but it's like, guys, I know you can't. Here's why it's frustrating, everybody. Actually, it's funny. It might technically be a bundle if you're buying if you're buying Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, buying a Switch, a normal one, not, no bundle, no nothing, no bells and whistles, just a Switch, and also buying the Pokeball Plus. 400 might actually be a little bit less expensive. It's just one of those things where I'm sitting there and I'm like, but if I have a Switch, why do I want to buy another Switch if it's just a Switch plus $100? Of course, you're getting the game, duh. But still, and the Pokeball Plus, but still, it would, I don't know, $350 to me is like, that's a steal. Like, I would immediately go for that. But for 400, I'm like, if I don't have the money, I could just get a Switch. And then get the game at a later date, potentially. Moving on, though, Diablo 3 Eternal Collection coming out November 2nd. There will be Nintendo Switch exclusive Ganondorf armor and also compatible with amiibos. So you might actually be getting Cloud in Diablo 3 sooner than you expect. If not, then you can get Sheik. Either way, though, moving on, there's Super Mario Party, which is coming out October 5th. There are all new minigames. So apparently all of them, the entire set of minigames in the game are new. 80 new, is what they said. So I don't know if that means it's going to be because I don't think this is like a WarioWare thing where it was like a complete collection of all of the WarioWare games. I'm pretty sure they're looking to this as a brand new Super Mario Party, like a brand new Mario Party. So brand new games, all that cool stuff. Some new interesting stuff with the dice that I didn't really catch my attention, but apparently some new stuff you can do with the way you roll the dice and things like that. So that's pretty cool. And let's move forward to Town, which is also another working title, coming out in 2019. This game looks super cute. I will have to see some more about it, though, before reserving judgment on it, either good or bad. I just know that it looks cute. Would love to see if it has some slice of life elements alongside the monster battles, because if it's only taking place in that one town, I do hope that, even though this might seem a bit too ambitious, but because it's only taking place in that one town, there is a way that, not every day, but maybe you can grow alongside the game. So it's not just, so in other words, I know this wouldn't happen in Animal Crossing for obvious reasons, but in this game, it would be nice to see this kid potentially grow into a teenager and an adult. I know that might be a bit too much for some of y'all, but if it's only going to be in the town itself, it would be nice, unless maybe it's just because the thing, we don't know anything about this, so I don't know if it's going to be a story, if there's going to be, a campaign, if it's going to be like a free play kind of thing, if it's going to be like Animal Crossing, if it's going to be, because he's giving me some Secret of Mana vibes, so I do wonder if it's going to have a little bit of that. I don't know what it's going to entail. We know nothing other than I think it looks cute, and I hope we get more of it in the future. That would definitely be a game that I would want on the Switch, depending on how it goes. Also, we have City Skylines, which is out today. Literally, when they did the direct, it said it was out today, so it's out now. You can get it. All DLC is available because there's 2 other DLCs that were released when it was not released on the Switch, because this is another port. However, they are all available with it, so that's pretty cool. And if you don't know what City Skylines is, it's a city-making sim. That doesn't mean that it's bad, but if you don't really care for city-making sims like myself, then it's a pass. But for some of you guys that really do enjoy that, I do think it looks cool, it looks fun, and I think that DLC thing, it might seem like I'm harping on it, but I think that's a beautiful thing, and that's kind of what makes the Switch and other consoles do this as well. It's not just the Switch, it has happened to other consoles as well, like other consoles that had the new re-release of LA Noire. But having, DLC ported with it, and having it be only like 30 or 40 bucks or something like that, I think it's pretty cool. That's just me, though. Daemon X Machina. Holy crap. This game, it's coming out in 2019, by the way. This game looks so badass. I'm really hyped about it because the thing is, looking at this game, yes, there's games that are like this, but I think that some of them are a bit, I don't want to say too tactical, or, I don't know, they're either very old, so they don't look like this necessarily, or some of the controls, I don't know, it just seems a bit too, like, I've played games like this, I can't remember the exact names of them, on the PS1. I don't think that's too old. I think too old is like Super Nintendo, where, it's a bit, and it's funny, when I say too old, I don't mean like too old to play, because that's kind of what my channel is centered around, like playing older games. But when I say too old, I'm mostly referring to the fact that it doesn't look like this, and so it's either too simple, or the controls are a bit too hard for me to actually move around and do anything. I played a game, I can't remember the game now, it was on Matt Plays PS1 demo discs, and another show that we do on the channel, and the way to move around was so clunky and so rough that I feel like a game like this, especially trying to use Joy-Cons with it, they're probably going to make it very simple to move around. I hope they would. I hope you don't have to use like a pro controller just to try to get around. And also the fact that you can get out of your mech and walk around is pretty cool as well. And I hope that they focus just as much on story mode as they would on something like online co-op or online multiplayer or even local co-op. Because while I would love to play this with friends, I don't want that to be the only draw. That and just some random missions. A video game that looks like this, I hope they have some really kick-ass anime cutscenes. That would be really nice. That's all I'm kind of saying. And this next one's going to be a big one. Like, for this one, I'm pretty sure Will was just somewhere just dancing in a corner once he heard the news. And he might be thinking, who is Will? I don't know who Will is. If you saw the video that I just referenced earlier when I was at Nintendo World in NYC filming for that Direct, the E3 Direct, met Will there. He's actually part of a channel called Tank Media Games. I'll also link them in the description box down below. But I met him there. Really cool dude. Does not live in New York. Forgot where he lives, but does not live in New York, I'll say that much. And so he actually traveled for other things as well, but also to go to that Direct. So I'm like, yo, you're hardcore. So he was really hoping that Yoshi's Crafted World would come out soon. It seems like it's coming out, according to Nintendo, spring 2019, sans any other delays. I'm kidding, but hope there's no other delays. And the way the game looks for me, so one thing that I don't care about, just one thing that I don't care about, because I think the rest of it looks like a beautiful game, would definitely love to play this game, but I don't care about playing the world backwards. And the reason why isn't for the challenge, but I hate time trials so much. I dislike them in Crash Bandicoot 3. I disliked them in GTA. Depending on what GTA game I played, really don't like time trials at all. So when it comes to playing the level backwards, no thank you. But the game itself looks adorable, and I can't wait to play it if I have a Switch by the time the game even comes out. Either way, let's move on to these were strange, board games on the Switch. I don't hate the concept. I think it's a really cool concept. There's Carcassonne, The Lord of the Rings, The Living Card Game, Pandemic, Catan, and Munchkin. That are all going to be released on the Switch, but they're board games. They're digital board games. Is that a bad thing? No. I mean, people like digital pinball, people like digital board games, people like digital gambling. Being digitized doesn't mean that it's a problem necessarily. I just don't play, usually, real live board games. So for me, this doesn't really do much for me. Also, and some of you guys are going to murder me for this in the comment section down below, I have not seen Lord of the Rings. Oh, that's the Eye of Sauron, which is the YouTube comments section. I'm going to get roasted. Anyway, the point though is that I'm just not that into this concept, but if you are definitely looking at these games, I'm not saying they'd be bad, it's just I'm not really interested in board games usually. Anyway, moving on, we have Civ 6, Civilization 6, coming out November 16th. It is multiplayer. It is also a civilization simulation. You build civilizations, you watch them rise, you watch them fall. Civ 6, coming to you and your Nintendo Switch, November 16th. Why did that become a fucking... I don't know why. Out of nowhere, that just became a commercial. Either way, not really interested in Civ either, but again, if you are, you get your civilizations on the go. You're moving around planets. The people, it's kind of like that episode of The Simpsons. They're like, what's going on here? Which I know was based off of a Twilight Zone episode. Don't come at me for that. Either way, moving on to Starlink Battle for Atlas, October 16th. We actually get to see the Star Fox. The Star Fox. He is just the Star Fox now. He's become like Prince. He just has a symbol. We see Star Fox and his crew in action. So that was pretty cool. Also, Wolf. So we get to see everybody. I forgot his full name. I pointed at him. I'm like, Wolf. You are Wolf. But either way, that was a lot of fun. This is not a game that I probably will ever get because I don't want to get games that have toyetic tie-ins and things like that. But still, it does seem very fun. I talked about this during I did a Matt Rants for Ubisoft's E3 presentation. This was a lot of fun. So I'm really happy with Nintendo branching out, doing things like this, doing kind of crossovers like this. It's a lot of fun, and the licensing money makes Nintendo money. They also are putting money into making the figures, or at least giving out their license for the figures to be released for Star Fox and all their ships. So you know what? Hey, Nintendo's making money. The creators of Starlink are making money. Cool. Not for me, but maybe from someone else. That's cool. Also, this is something that's going to make money. The World Ends With You Final Remix coming out October 12th. Now, why am I hyped about this? Matt, you don't even have the first game. Why are you hyped about this? I've wanted to play this game since I saw it on Nintendo DS, but when the DS came out, I did not have money for myself. I was a teenager, but too young of a teenager to work, especially in New York State. So I could not get this game myself. I didn't know who to look to family-wise. I was like, no, because every time I think I tried to look to a family member, I was also in that weird range where I was too old to be like a little kid, like, mommy, I was too old for that, but I was too young to work. So it was that weird in between. But I wanted this game since it was out on the DS. So even though they didn't talk about any new info, like any new info, they didn't talk about any new like DLC, or there wasn't DLC on the DS, but like anything extra. They didn't talk about any of that. It's just a remix, i.e., an HD version on the Switch. Why is it exciting for me though? Unless it's $60, which I would, then I'd be like, ooh. But I think for 30 or 40, I'm pretty sure. And again, don't take my word for it 100%. Go look it up yourself. And also, by the way, if you have this online, don't make it more expensive. Come on, don't do that. But in general, I'm pretty sure this game is actually more expensive than a Nintendo Switch re-released counterpart. And again, I've mentioned already a few different times, during this episode of Matt Rants, that does happen from time to time, and I think it's just a way to, and also, heck, even putting aside the fact that maybe it is, cheaper. If you sold your 3DS and you never got this game, or you sold your DS and never got this game, and you never got a 3DS, and you have a Switch, now's the time. When it comes to an interesting and quirky game like this, it's kind of like, why not? And now moving on to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torma the Golden Country. That is a long name. September 21st is when it is coming out. You can get a preview of this, I think if you have the first DLC or some kind of subscription thing. It was something along those lines. You can get it a week earlier, so it's September 14th. And also, I'm pretty sure with all this footage, they just showed this exact same footage at the last Nintendo Direct. Not a terrible thing, it's just what they did, so I'm not going to focus on it for too long. Also, some other games that were run through rather fast, and I'm just going to also run through rather fast. We have Warframe, Just Dance 2019, FIFA 19, Team Sonic Racing, that's being released in the winter, NBA 2K19, NBA 2K Playgrounds 2, LEGO DC Super Villains, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, World of Final Fantasy, also on the way. By the way, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition is quote-unquote on the way. Also, we have... No, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition is coming relatively soon if it's not out already. But World of Final Fantasy is on the way, as well as Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon. Final Fantasy 12, by the way, the Zodiac Age will be coming out in 2019. I believe that's a re-release, ? And this is a re-release, but a very interesting re-release. Final Fantasy 7, 9, and X and X2 are coming out in 2019. The question is, what did Squall do? Like, I'm kind of sitting there and I'm like, is Squall okay? Is he doing all right? Like, what's going on with Squall there, buddy? I don't know, maybe if they made a decision like, well, Squall's in Smash. Squall's like, you never called me. So I don't know what's going on there. It's funny. I feel like Squall, I feel like they did call Squall. They kind of, I don't know if you guys have seen X-Men, the first class, but it feels like if they went up to Squall, it was kind of like, would you like to be in? And he said, fuck off. And then we're like, okay. I feel like that might be what happened with Squall. Either way, though, let's move on to the Super Smash Bros. Switch bundle, which is on the way, November 2nd. I don't know if I want the Switch bundle more or the Pokemon one more, because Pokemon, for me anyway, I had Pokemon before I had Super Smash Brothers. In fact, I was around before Super Smash Brothers was even a franchise. Before it was even a glow in Sakurai's eyes. Anyway, but it's true though. It really is. Either way though, I feel like my heart lies with Pokemon, but I do like the way this bundle looks. So that's, God, it's so rough. And you know what? As we're wrapping this up, speaking of Smash, Isabelle is in Smash. Also, just the way they did that entire thing was hilarious. Where like Isabelle's like, should I have a bloodless coup? Should I just take over as the mayor of the village? And she was like, no, but I mustn't. And it was like, but you thought about it for a second, didn't you? You got a taste for it. And then all of a sudden we learn that she's in Smash, and she's like, oh, I can do it myself. I can take him out myself. So she's going to be in Smash, which is adorable. She's actually now in the giant Jesus-like mural, with Mario and his last supper, his last Super Smash. His last Super. Just take away 1P. Mario and his last Super. And it's very interesting that happened. And they kind of... I thought this was very interesting. Now Nintendo's gonna have to like triple troll us, where like they have to do that and then something that is what we thought we wanted, and then something even better. Because now we're expecting the troll job, where everyone thought they were going to announce a new Animal Crossing, like myself. Then they announced Isabelle and Smash, and then we had Tom Nook, who I've only seen Tom Nook in Wild World and in the first Animal Crossing, and he does not look this mild-mannered and Mr. Rogers-like. In the first Animal Crossing, I thought he was like part of a secret underground organization, running everything, making people disappear, and you're like, what? Why would you think that? Well, you know what? You watch our Let's Plays, where myself and Anthony Toto play the original Animal Crossing, and there's something about Tom Nook's vibe that just comes off as a little, very aggressive. A bit like those, the moles. I don't remember their names, but they were brothers and everything. They were so funny, but they were so aggressive. Either way, though, we're getting a new Animal Crossing in 2019 for the Nintendo Switch, which is interesting because I thought that we hadn't gotten a new Animal Crossing for a while, but I had forgotten. I think because a lot of people in the Animal Crossing community were like, we haven't gotten one in so long. It's like, but they did get one for the 3DS, but I don't think we should count anything on the Wii U. I gotta be real with you guys. So it's been, from what people have been saying, it's been 6 years, which is kind of like, guys, it's been a while. But you look at some other peeps that are like Kid Icarus, or not even Kid Icarus. I'm glad that is one, but F-Zero, really? Come on, why not? So like there are some other franchises where it's been longer than 6 years or 5 years, but still, yeah, I don't count the Wii U version. And there was an Animal Crossing on the Wii, but the Wii at this point, it's 10 years old. It's crazy to think about how long it's been since the Wii's been out. So although I don't remember when the Animal Crossing Wii version came out though, but still, we have had. It's not like there has technically not been a gen without Animal Crossing since its inception, which is fair. But at the same time, it's just interesting because other games, and they're not slice of life, Sims kind of like that, but other games like a Mario game, you'll get like 5-10 Mario games or games with Mario in some form or another in a given console, in a given life cycle for a console. So I think maybe that's kind of why Animal Crossing fans, especially once they got pocketed, camp, and they were like, so I guess that's all we're getting. It's nice to have a new Animal Crossing coming out in 2019. Don't know when, maybe around the holiday season. That'd be real nice, but unsure. Either way, guys, thank you all so much for listening in. I don't know how long this is going to be in post. I really hope it's not an hour, because I was shooting for not an hour, but I think it's probably longer than the 25-30 minutes I was looking forward to. Either way, that's not your problem. That's mine. Thank you all so much for listening in. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like the video. If you don't like the video, you can still like and subscribe either way. Thank you all so much. Tune in next time for another Matt Rants. We're having some more Matt Rants coming up soon. Very soon. One per day for a bit, because I have a huge backlog that I need to get through. So see ya.